Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forrest. Grab yourself a glass of water or a cup of tea and spend the next few minutes with me. And like I always tell you, don't believe everything you hear. Check your facts and do your own research. And as soon as my butterflies bring us on in, you know what's going to happen? Don't you want to know what my butterflies are saying? Don't you want to know what my butterflies are talking? I am Pelenta, and this is my Forrest. So check me out, people. How is everybody doing this fine day, afternoon, night, evening, whatever the case may be? I have so much stuff on my homemade desk. I don't even know what I want to get to first. But let me see here. Well, I'm going to start with this article. It says half of the U.S. is said to be under a severe weather alert, which is awful. I mean, they're talking about Atlanta. Now, this is June, okay? This is updated news, you guys. This isn't like back in March or whatever. This is recent. This is Atlanta, Miami, Florida, Texas, Mid-Atlantic, tropical, talking about Yucatan Peninsula, I mean Virginia, Baltimore, just all over the place. It's just ridiculous. We're going through some massive flooding and all kinds of crazy nonsense. Now I'm getting up to a big bang here, okay? So you have all this weird weather. Now you've also, well, maybe you haven't, but have you heard of all these sinkholes and stuff just popping up all over the place? People, whole houses just getting swallowed up by the earth. Well, you know how people always say, oh, that won't happen to me. This is a quiet town. Things like that just don't happen around here, Billy Bob. You know better than to say stuff like that. Because as soon as you say that, all of a sudden, you see some three-toed alien with two heads running around your backyard, and it is not FX with Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy. It is the real deal. Severe weather. Do you think that the severe weather has to do with the cracks in the ground and why the ground is opening up? Or do you think it's something else? What about the booms and all the weird unexplained sounds going on around the world? Remember a couple of weeks ago, I talked about that tunnel that they're building underneath Seattle, under the Denver airport? Check it out. You go search that. So, I'm getting to a point here, you people. We got the severe weather, okay? I know you're going to laugh, because it's not funny. Then we have, I'm getting stuck. Then we have, just a couple of weeks ago, this big sinkhole on I-5. They had to close I-5 for it. Now, this hole is big, all right? This is a big sinkhole. And there's some sinkholes that are even bigger. So hold on, because you know how I am. I got to show you the picture, because I like you to see what I am ranting about. Okay. You see that sinkhole? All right. So now that you've seen that sinkhole on I-5, they had to close down the road for that. Okay. So, now here I go. You have these sinkholes and all this stuff falling all over the world. Remember how Atlantis sunk? Well, listen at this. No, wait a minute. Wait. Let me say something else first. Did any of you see Lord of the Rings? The Hobbits? And all that stuff with Gandalf and Sam, my Sam. And he put the ring on and disappear. And a big old coming on the horses. And You want him? Come and get him. Remember all that? Well, listen to this. This is going to trip you out. New fossils strengthen case for Hobbit species. Now you see here, they make these crazy movies, and sure enough, couple of months, couple of years later, they pop up with some mess talking about, oh, we just found a Hobbit species. Remember, what was it, 1982 or 83 when Total Recall came out? Remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger went through that naked body scanner and he had that gun on his hip and he was all skeletized and he was like, look, everybody went crazy. What do we have at the airports now? What do we have at the airports now? What do we have? Naked body scanners. Yes, we do. Okay, so listen here. Scientists digging in the Langbois Cave on the Indonesian island of Forrest years ago. Now, did you hear what I just said? Years ago. Not yesterday, not 6 months ago, but years ago. Years ago. So how much do you want to bet that they actually found this? Now, they didn't say how many years ago. Years ago could be 10 years, 5 years, 15 years. How much do you want to bet that they found this thing long before Lord of the Rings came out, and that's when they started writing that script? Yes. So it says that they found it years ago, and it was a tiny human-like skull, then a pelvis, a jaw, and other bones, all between 60,000 and 100,000 years old. Now, of course, I'm not a geologist or an anthropologist or anything like that. But, you know, how do they get these figures of 60,000 years old and 100,000 years old and all that stuff? Where do they get these numbers from? And how do they know that those numbers are correct? I'd like to know that. And then listen to this one. And it says the fossils, the scientists concluded, belong to individuals who stood just 3 feet tall, an unknown species related to modern humans that they called Homo floresiensis, or more casually, the hobbits. Okay? And then it says the researchers also reported that they've also discovered older remains, including teeth, a piece of a jaw, and 149 stone tools dating back 700,000 years. 700,000 years? Who comes up with this stuff? How in the world do we know what was happening 700,000 years ago? I'll tell you how. You want to hear? You want me to tell you how? I'll tell you how. It's because we have the ability to teleport ourselves through time. And we got our little butts doing a Jet Li like in the movie The One. Remember? There is not just one you. There are many yous. And remember, you had all 25 different hymns, and he wanted to be the one. And then he got his butt in Outland because he was a bad boy. Remember? And what did he tell that guy? You law. You want that finger? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, this will make you guys laugh. A suspicious item that closed the store. You know what it was? I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to read the article first so you can laugh. The Target store near 65th Street and Highway 50 was closed for a couple of hours while the bomb squad members investigated a suspicious object. Okay? The police were called at 7:43 a.m. by an employee after a worker found a device that was suspicious enough to call in the bomb squad and close the business. They found this item behind a toilet, and it had a magnet attached to it. You know what it was? It was a meth pipe. You know what? One of these days, you know what's going to happen? Let me tell you something. Okay, you see this? This is a highlighter. I bet you any amount of money, if you take this safety pin, it's not a safety pin, this is a paper clip. If you take this paper clip and stick it on here with the rubber band and a piece of bubble gum and just sit it somewhere on top of a paper bag, I bet you any amount of money somebody is going to freak out and call 911 and think that it is some kind of a new age bomb or a suspicious device. You know what? I tell you what. You know where we're heading for? We are heading into agoraphobia, where nobody is ever going to leave their house again. Like I said with the movie Surrogates, we're going to be sitting in our houses while our little robot walks around and lives the real world. And then our robot is going to be getting high by zapping itself in the neck with electricity. Lord have mercy. Moving right along, you heard about the King's guard, not guard, but Collison. Yeah, he is a guard. Sacramento Kings point guard Darren Collison was arrested on suspicion of domestic violence. Well, they went ahead and charged his butt. So there's been change.org petitions all over the place. And I'm just wondering, what do you think about sports athletes, you know, basketball players, football players, baseball players? How do you feel about them being violent and abusive? Meanwhile, they get to play sports and make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's okay? And do you think that that privilege should be taken away? And just ask him. And let's see. What else do I want to tell you about here? Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Here we go with the implants. I think I might end the show with this tonight. So, the FDA okays implants to fight addiction. I don't know. What do you... Do you want... Okay. Give me a second here. Hold on a minute. Okay, so remember the other day I said there is no war on drugs. Guns, drugs, and chocolate are here to stay. Those are the three things on this earth that will never leave. Guns, drugs, and chocolate ain't going nowhere. Listen to this. FDA okays implant to fight addiction. The federal health officials approved an innovative new option for Americans struggling with addiction to heroin and painkillers. A drug-oozing implant that curbs cravings and withdrawal symptoms for 6 months at a time. The first of its kind is a device. It's called Probufine. It arrives as communities across the U.S. grapple with addiction tied to opioids, you know, other addictive drugs that include legal pain medications like OxyContin and, you know, illegal narcotics, heroin. And this implant comes from Braeburn Pharmaceuticals, and it's essentially a new delivery system for an established drug called buprenorphine, which has long been used to treat opioid addiction. Well, you know, I am all for people being strong, drug-free, and healthy. But see, the thing is, with these implants, when you start implanting things in your body, the problem with that is it's not natural. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't try, okay? But the problem is when you start implanting things in your body, it's not natural. And your body's natural response is to push this stuff out and to get rid of it. And then, depending on how little this thing is, lots of times those little things get lost in your body. Now, I remember back in the 80s, I forget the doctor's name, but women that didn't want to get pregnant got that thing called the Norplant. And it was placed right here, and it was like 5 little sticks that they put right underneath your skin, very thin underneath the surface. And there are these little sticks. Well, and they were big to make it so bad. It wasn't a little grain of rice. They were big. Well, the problem being, they got stuck in there. And people, you could barely get those things out of your arm. It was crazy. And then a special doctor came in, and I mean, women have these big, nasty scars from that thing getting lost in their arm and all this kind of stuff. Like I've said a million times, you know, when we come up with solutions for things, we need to think about the consequences. You see all over the news, if you've had this mesh implant, you may have a case. Call this lawyer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, moving on to something really cool is there's a company called Atiba, and they plan on building a $530 million electric car plant. Everybody wants to challenge Tesla. You have another company here called Faraday that wants to open a plant in Vallejo at some point. And it's going to be 157 acres. And they broke ground on its $1 billion manufacturing facility in North Las Vegas back in April. So, you know, like I said, we're moving into the new age. A lot of it is super cool, and some of it is pretty dangerous and really scary because, see, everybody is in such a hurry, and it's like, oh no, I got competition. I don't want him to beat me. I don't want him to beat me. So in the midst of running this race, we want to be first so bad that we're getting careless. No, don't worry about being first. Worry about being good. Worry about being good and doing it the right way. Therefore, you won't have any mistakes and there won't be any lawsuits. You know, remember in that movie Colors when he said, I'm going to run down this mountain and I'm going to hump one of those cows. And who was it, Robert Duvall? He said, why don't you walk down the mountain and hump them all? Ladies and gentlemen, that is our show for tonight. Thank you for watching. I am so very grateful for everything, and I am grateful for you too. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go to my website, buy my book, Angels Passing Through. Angels are around you too. God bless everybody, and stay tuned for more episodes of Find Out What's in Pelenta's Forest. We're going to get you on out of here with my favorite tune, One Love. Thank you for watching. What's in Pelenta's Forest? God bless you all. I will see you real soon.